Steve Wright's big guests.
All right, now, Ray Winstone is an actor, the star of films including Nil by Mouth, Sexy Beast, and so many others, Indiana Jones, as well as TV series Vincent, Robin of Sherwood, and now in an upcoming movie which we'll tell you about later on. But Ray's not here for that. Ray Winstone is here. Good afternoon, Ray.
Oh, good afternoon. I've only just got up.
Well, you should get up earlier, mate.
I know.
First of all, how are you?
I'm pretty good, yeah. Tired. I've been doing a lot of press stuff lately for a film, so I've been kind of travelling, jet setting. Really.
Yeah, well, that is your life now, jet setting, isn't it?
Yeah,
really?
I don't like it anymore, though.
What do you mean?
Well, I'm getting older. When I was a kid, I used to love it, go to different countries and all that, but now you just get bored with it.
You just want to put your carpet slippers on, don't you?
Absolutely, do a bit of knitting.
I can see you knitting, Ray. Yeah, that is you, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, this is an interesting thing you're involved in because you're an ambassador for a new play which is called The Two Worlds of Charlie F., which is performed by both serving and medically discharged military personnel as well as professional actors. So tell us a little bit about this project. I mean, to me, it sounds really, really interesting.
Well, I went to Camp Bastion in Afghanistan. I spent a week there with, some mates who were out there. And it seemed the right way to progress with this and finding out, I became very interested about the whole thing, was when I came back, I obviously went to the hospitals and see the wounded soldiers. And then I went to a Headley Court where they get their rehabilitation.
Yeah.
And it's quite incredible. The whole journey of it is, through the sadness of what you're going to see.
Yeah.
And you kind of start wondering what happens to these guys when they come home, And Alice came up with the idea of this theatre group through the British Legion and the Ministry of Defence. And it's just a way of actually giving people, just to make them feel like the world is theirs again,
And they're wanted again,
Yeah, they're wanted again. And it's something about the theatre. If you've got 2 arms, 2 legs, and you can stand up on stage, it takes a lot of bottle to do that, Now, these guys, some of them are wounded, some of them they've been affected mentally, in a war zone. And they come back and they need all the help they can get in that way. And for me, watching them do this play was quite an incredible event,
So it was really important for you to get them involved rather than just have professional actors only
No, it's
portray
about
their
them.
story.
It's about them, It's about them, really. And I've seen over the past 2 years the people that have been involved with this play grow. And just the confidence that it's instilled in them is amazing.
Can you tell us about, Ray, the story, The Two Worlds of Charlie F.? What's it about?
Well, actually, it's their own stories. The original idea was to bring them all in and for them to tell their story to the world. And really, I guess that's like therapy in a way, because you're actually talking about it, But you're talking about it sometimes to 3,000 people in a theatre. Now, that's got to be great. So it's got to be great for you. It comes out. It's in the open. Yeah.
Absolutely. But do they work to a script, or is it the same every night, or does it differ?
No, it's the same every night. And I guess the projects will evolve, where new people will come in and start to tell their stories. And I can see the play changing, over the course of a few years. They've just come back from Canada, a tour of Canada. They opened in the Melville Theatre, I think, on the 31st of March.
Yeah, I've got some dates here, actually, Ray.
Dates.
As you say, 31st of March to the 5th of April, the Malvern Theatre. Yep. Then 14th to 19th of April, Nottingham Theatre Royal. Churchill Theatre Bromley, 21st to 26th of April. Then on to Newcastle, Norwich, Wickham Swan, G Live Guildford, Mercury Theatre Colchester, Truro Hall for Cornwall, Opera House in Manchester, rounding off on the 14th of June. And who knows, there might be more after that. Yep. You need to check the internet and your local press for details. You were mentioning that you've been running around, doing all kinds of stuff. And I would imagine talking about the new Noah movie.
Yeah.
You're in that.
I am.
Who are you in
laughing?
it? No, I'm not laughing because it's such a... I can't imagine when they sat round talking about it. I mean, it's off the scale, big-time epic, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got a great director called Darren Aronofsky who done The Wrestler and Black Swan, and you can't really put those two films together with Noah. I mean, it's a big biblical kind of movie. It's epic.
Yeah.
But once they told me it was Darren Aronofsky, and I was lucky enough to be asked to be in the movie, because it's a good script as well.
Who are you in it?
I'm playing Tubal Cain.
Right.
Which is supposedly the bad guy. But I kind of look at him, he did have a point of view. He wanted to save humanity.
Right. Not just animals.
Wanted to save the animals. What's the matter with the geezer? But I got to tell you, I saw the film about 5 weeks ago, before the music had been put on it, and It's a fabulous film. It is, and it's one I'm really proud to be a part of. My kids can watch it.
Well,
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel. It's so great to have a movie you can take your kids to.
Do you know what? The best thing about it is the best stories probably do come from the Bible in the first place.
Well, and it's a story that we all know.
Well, I thought I knew it.
Really?
Until I saw the film, because we know about the animals going into the ark, and then the floods come, and then the ark settles.
Yeah.
But that kind of takes place halfway through the movie, you know.
Okay.
And you find out what happens to Noah.
Yeah.
And to his family, you know, which is a real emotional journey, I've got to tell you.
What were you thinking as you were doing it? Were you thinking, this is the most unusual film I've ever done?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking, I wonder what made them think of me. For Tubal Cain, you know, a biblical character. I'm usually beating people up. Well, I am in the movie, I suppose. But
Do you have a big beard?
yes, I do. I've got this mad beard with 2 bits coming down the side and hair all the way down my back. It's like the old gag, none of me head all down my back. But no, I have, and you get the feeling that it's all kind of happened before. You know?
Yeah.
It's kind of a modern twist to it in a way, but although it's done back in the day. You know?
And did they say, Ray, you're going to have a slightly different voice for this?
Yeah, I did. We did in a way, but we all come to a common ground. So we wasn't lording it all up and all that. We kind of found this, not what they call a mid-Atlantic kind of accent.
Oh, okay, I know what you mean.
We kind of clipped it a bit, but we tried to keep it down and dirty as much as we could as well.
But none of that, get them animals in there.
Nah, there's none of that. Old Farmer Joe's talking. No, there was none of that. No. We had to be a bit more clear, you know, than I'm used to anyway.
Yeah. Listen, just going back to the other thing, a reminder you can see the 2 Worlds of Charlie F around the country from now until the middle of June. Ray here is an ambassador for the 2 Worlds of Charlie F, so that cannot be bad at all.
I've got to tell you, Steve, you'll see performances in this from soldiers who are not professional actors at the moment, but should be.
Yeah.
That will grab your heart. Honestly, you know, I've seen some fine actors over the years. But this really does me.
Are
this
tissues
really
provided as you go in?
Yeah, they are, but it's very uplifting. It's funny as well, you know. It's that old gallows humour that's there, you know, and it's really worth a look at, really is. And it's a great thing to support as well. They're our boys and girls, you know.
Absolutely. Good to see you, Ray. Thank you, Ray Winston.
Thank you very much for your time. Lovely.
Pleasure. Thank you. Today, let's bring on Janie Lee Grace and Tim Smith. Let's go to Janie. How are you?
I'm very well. And if you start counting at 1 and you spell out the numbers as you go, you won't use the letter A until you reach 1,000.
So what do you mean? I say 1 and then I go O-N-E.
Yeah.
Then I go 2 T-W-O.
Yeah, we're going to wait till you get to 1,000.
Oh, no, I see what you mean, though. Here's Tim.
In the 10th century AD, there wasn't one single city in Europe that had a population of over 400,000.
Back to you, Janie.
Janis Joplin apparently left £2,500 in her will. She said it was for her friends to have a ball after she'd gone.
Queen bees only sting other queen bees.
How long do you think summer lasts on the planet Neptune?
I think it's 9 years.
Quite a good guess, bit longer.
I think it's 23 million years.
You need cream there, though, don't you?
You need a lot of cream.
Factor 15, something like that.
Well, that said, summer on Neptune lasts 40 years, but the temperature is only minus 200 degrees Celsius.
Oh, is that all?
That's chilly.
It's Janie.
On this day in 1996, Emma Thompson became the first person to win Oscars for both acting and writing.
We like her. The Italian deck of cards has no queens.
The Amazon rainforest produces more than 20% of all the world's oxygen.
Factoids.
It's a return visit now for the legendary Jack Bruce. Jack Bruce is back with us. And you'll see over there, Jack, we saved your seat.
It's lovely to be anywhere. Thank you.
Who says that to us when they come in?
Me, I just said it.
Oh, yeah,
that
no,
was
but
me.
somebody else says it as well.
Cartoon.
It's good to be anywhere. I love it. Jack's new album, Silver Rails, was released yesterday. It's his first studio album in 10 years and was recorded at the famous Abbey Road Studios. Jack's bass-playing style has influenced successive generations of bassists, including Paul McCartney and Sting, alongside more contemporary musicians like Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers and others. And, of course, vocal stylings as well. And we were just saying, your vocal stylings are either quite aggressive or wistful. There's a bit of both on this album.
That's me. I do both. I can do aggressive and wistful. Can't do anything else.
Let's talk, before we talk about the album and play a couple of tracks, tell us how Cream was formed originally way back in the 60s and how you got together and what it was like.
Ginger Baker had this idea of playing with Eric.
He's a
really.
crazy man, by the way. He's a crazy man.
No, I think Ginger's nuts. Pass right over that.
In a good way. A good
Oh,
way.
in a good way, of course.
I think you're in agreement, guys. Carry on, Jack.
Yeah, so he had the idea, he wanted to play with Eric. Eric was like really getting a big reputation, but as the, Clapton is God era sort of thing. Ginger loved his playing and he wanted to play with him. And Eric said, yeah, that would be great, but you got to have Jack in the band. We had fallen out, Ginger and myself, a little bit.
Yeah.
So he came and asked me, Ginger did, came and asked me if I'd join the band. And I said, well, let's have a play. And we went down to Ginger's house in Neasden, set up. It sounded phenomenal from the first little note.
And did you think it would ever end? And how long, in your eyes and ears, did it go on for?
Well, I think for all of us, certainly for Eric and me, well, towards the end was when we were doing these really big tours. And I think we just wanted to move on. It just felt like a natural place to stop. We just had said what we had to say in that format, that trio format. I think I wanted to play with bigger groups, wanted to write different kind of songs, more kind of emotional songs, if you like. And it seemed to be a good time to do it.
And the albums were the thing, certainly as students and as young people. We want the Cream album. And yet there were hit singles. And I always got the impression from you and Eric and Ginger that singles weren't the thing. And yet you were wildly successful with...
I think that's a really good point. That, people don't pick up on that. I think the legacy of that band is the little songs, the nice little hit pop songs. I Feel Free, something like that.
It conjures up the era as well, doesn't it?
It does, and that was when I wrote that. That was a deliberate attempt to write a pop song, because I'm not a natural pop songwriter, but I was so in love with people like, especially the Beach Boys.
Here's a question for you, and I don't know if anyone's probably asked you, they probably have. Did you compete with Eric in terms of guitar?
No, I wouldn't say it was that, because, Eric's Eric. I wouldn't compete with him. And I think I was just trying to... With a three-piece band, I was just trying to fill in all the gaps.
Really? So you
and
didn't...
a bit more, really.
Yeah. I think so.
I was very competitive as a bass player. I wanted to bring the bass and have some melodic things happening with the bass.
And you were one of the first musicians to do that, certainly in popular music, weren't you?
No, I think I did. I took my kind of jazz background, which I had, and applied it to the pop rock thing. Yeah, definitely.
So was it difficult to walk away from that? You said it kind of came to a natural end, but were you still kind of thinking, am I doing the right thing or not?
Not really. I just did what I very selfishly did, what I wanted to do. And yeah, we could have kept the band going, but it wouldn't have been honest.
It's not proper rock and roll unless you split up anyway.
Yeah, you're right. You got to have a fight and split up.
And then maybe get together again in 50 years. Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. Jack's new album, Silver Rails. So, Jack, tell us about it. We've heard about 4 or 5 tracks from it. We love Candlelight. We love Don't Look Now. We love Rusty Lady. Rusty Lady quite heavy. Don't Look Now is the kind of wistful vocals that I referred to earlier on. Where was it recorded? Tell us a bit about the album.
It started out with Mark Powell, who's the head of the record company, who just said to me one day, do you fancy doing a studio album? Which I hadn't done for like 10 years, as you say. So I thought, yeah, definitely, and it ended up being recorded at Abbey Road. You just assumed everything's going to work. It's all going to be great. And it was. Everybody I wanted to play on it, like from Phil Manzanera to Robin Trower to Cindy Blackman Santana, everybody that I wanted was available.
Sure. And where did the songs come from, Jack?
Well, I just started writing. The first one I wrote was Drone.
This is where you're plugging in at the start there? I wasn't sure whether it was just feedback or whether you were just plugging in and warming up.
Yeah, I was plugging in, yes. I was a bit late for the session.
Just leave it in.
Wait for me, I'm just plugging the guitar.
Yeah, hold on. I'm here now.
It's the reality thing.
Okay.
It's the current vogue.
Yeah. And it's got a little Stuka overdub, which I think most records needs one of them as well.
I will stick that on in a minute. It's great. And are you happy with the album? And what do you want from it? I mean, when you record an album like this, is it for you? Or is it for them? Or is it for the punters? Or is it for all of them and none of them?
That's a very good question. Very difficult to answer. I think it's got to start with yourself. Because if you don't, I can't think I've got to make an album for Joe Bloggs up the road. No, it's always for me, but then it's for whoever wants to listen to it. Lots and lots of people.
But I suppose, really, looking back in the Cream days, bands in those days, there was expectation on bands, especially a super band like yourself. and therefore I would imagine that the record company was saying that we need more product, and we need you to tour, and we need you to do this, and we need you to appear on whatever. Having not to be able to do that now must be a great pleasure, to do it because it's a joy.
Yes, there's a lot to be said about that. It's absolutely true. And there was a lot of pressure. People always think of the 60s as this sort of idyllic time that the record company said, here's lots of money, go and make a record. It wasn't quite like that. We had people like Abbott Ertegun having their input into the record. You know, for instance, Sunshine of Your Love, he hated it, in fact, to be quite frank. He called it psychedelic hogwash.
This is the guy who ran Atlantic Records.
Well, it's Amit. He's the guy who started it, you know, all that. Anyway, he didn't like it. But very luckily, Otis Redding and Booker T. Jones came into the studio that day, and we played it to them, and they said, that's a huge hit.
Great.
So Amit said, oh, OK, then.
So they took him down. Brilliant.
And then it was Atlantic's biggest selling single up to that point.
And now when you go into the studio, you're chilled.
It's difficult to say what I am. If I go into Abbey Road, it's like being in a museum. You always feel a responsibility not to do something rubbish.
Yeah.
So all the musicians take their playing up a notch playing there because of all the fantastic music, all the stuff that we love. Working in those studios, you know, you don't want to sort of play a bum note.
Well, I'm going to ask a really silly question now. What's the sound like in there now?
It's to die for.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, Studio 2, which is the big one, that is, you know, it's just incredible.
Well, listen, the album sounds great. It really does. Good to see you again, Jack.
Thanks a lot, man.
Jack
really
Bruce.
Appreciate
it.
Yay!
Jack Bruce, everybody. All right, let's do some more factoids. Here's Janie Lee Grace again.
There are 1,309 outdoor sculptures in Texas.
And Tim.
Do you know how the sound of thunder is actually created? Everybody thinks they do, but nobody knows for sure.
My dad told me this when I was a kid, and he tells it me now. It's the angels moving their beds.
No, it's not. It's God's tummy rumbling.
It could be both.
My dad told me it was the clouds bumping together.
Could be that too.
No, thunder is created when the air around lightning gets rapidly heated and expands at a rate faster than the speed of sound, so you get a boom.
The heel of a sock is called a gore, G-O-R-E.
Most clams begin life as males, but half of them turn female when they're older.
Tim.
The largest living structure on Earth is the Great Barrier Reef. It's off Australia. It's over 2,000 kilometres long.
And Janie.
Half of British adults don't believe in evolution.
And Tim.
Fats Domino had 18 songs that sold 1 million copies each, mostly in America, but he never had a number one.
And our favourite of his?
I found my thrill.
And who did I'm Walking? I'm Walking.
That's Fats Waller, isn't it?
Factoids.
We were just saying you can throw anything at the doctor, including a microphone. Dr. Hilary Jones is here. Our friend and doctor, Professor Dame Sally Davis, the Chief Medical Officer for England, has accused GPs of prescribing powerful drugs to patients who are reluctant to take time off work with minor illnesses. This is apparently fueling the spread of superbugs. We're talking about antibiotics here, aren't we, really? Antibiotics good for you? Do they still work? Some are saying that they might not work in the future. We're becoming immune and all that.
Antibiotics, when they first developed in the 40s, saved countless millions of lives after that, and undoubtedly they were a revolution in healthcare. The trouble is we've overused them, and we've encouraged the growth of bacteria which are resistant to many commonly used antibiotics. It's posing a threat now to future generations who will develop infections with superbugs that may not respond to any known antibiotics. The World Health Organization see antibiotic resistance as the third biggest threat to mankind now.
Wow.
We could be returning to an era, this is sort of doomsday scenario, where simple infections would kill us.
There's also been lots in the media about how we're going back to probiotics, putting the good bugs back in, and not just necessarily in terms of supplements, but I'm sure you've seen all the press about fermented foods becoming popular again, and kefir and things like that.
Sure.
You know, cultured foods.
They're the antithesis of antibiotics.
Yeah.
So antibiotics have a side effect of killing off the friendly bacteria in our gut, where most of our immune system lies. So the use of probiotics to grow the friendly bacteria in our gut, which we absolutely rely on, is a good idea. They're very mild, they're very natural, and they are knocked off if you take antibiotics. So probiotics are a good thing.
Let's talk very quickly about back and neck ache. Yesterday, researchers wrote in the British Medical Journal that the number of people suffering from back pain will increase dramatically over the coming years because of the growing ageing population. Most people I know suffer back pain.
This very day, 1% of the entire working population of this country will be off work with backache.
1%?
1 in 100 people will be off work today because of back pain. It is the most common disabling condition, accounting for a third of all disability in work. I don't agree that it's the growing ageing population that's the problem. The problem is that none of us are using our back muscles. None of us have strong enough back muscles to protect us from the strains we put our back under.
How do we use them effectively, then, the muscles?
We sit upright. We concentrate on our posture, so it's shoulders back, chin slightly up, and that nice little curve in the small of your back, and have support in there if you're sitting at a desk. But also we should be doing back exercises to keep our back muscles strong. Yeah. If we only have strong stomach muscles and we have weak back muscles, you know, we're falling over one way or the other. So our core muscles are vital, and if we just spend 5 to 10 minutes every day doing some core muscle exercises, we'd all be far fitter and we get less backache.
Is it possible to get a round back, a permanent round back, by bad posture?
You can develop a rounded back. I mean, if you think you're sitting at a desk 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, for many, many years, you will develop a spinal hunch. You will develop RB. You will get what we call a scoliosis, which is a hunch.
Yes.
The longer that goes on, the worse it gets. And also osteoporosis is where you get a very exaggerated form of that, where you get wedging of the vertebrae and you see people walking along and they're actually looking down at the floor permanently.
Yes,
That osteoporosis is a slightly different thing. But certainly postural change, if it's chronic, is really bad news. It affects your respiration because it compresses your lungs. It gives you pain at the front of the chest, at the breastbone, where the ribs press against the breastbone. It's bad news. So posture is really important.
Just before we take the break, let's have a look at sugar versus salt. Recently, there's been a lot of talk about the potential dangers of too much sugar. I've only recently, honestly and truly, become aware of this in the last year or so. Somebody was telling us, I can't remember who it was, it might have been Gloria Hunniford the other day. She was saying that there's 16 spoonfuls of sugar in many of the meals that you might eat unbeknownstly.
Easily. A can of fizzy cola, about 13 teaspoons.
Yeah.
But in ketchup, in bread, there are some pizzas you can buy in restaurants which contain more salt than seawater.
Really?
Right? If you compare the weights,
yeah.
weight for weight. Now, that's crazy. In fact, the manufacturing industry add 220,000 tonnes of unnecessary salt to our food, which is enough to fill St Paul's Cathedral.
Let me ask you this major question. Why is salt bad for us?
When we salt, it's absorbed into our bloodstream, and our bloodstream says, right, too much salt, we need to dilute it with water. So we absorb water to go with that salt into our bloodstream, which means that the volume increases, which means our blood pressure goes up. So excess salt means high blood pressure. If we could just reduce the amount of salt we have by a gram a day, which is easily achievable, we would probably cut the rates of strokes by about 25%. Wow. We will save a lot of lives. So if you can do that, eat more natural foods, more healthy foods, vegetables, fruit, chicken, fish, they're high in potassium, not sodium salt, which doesn't have the same problem.
I was going to ask you about that because people say, oh, there's plenty of sugar in apples. And you think, well, the doctor says apple a day and all of that. But there's sugar in it.
Absolutely. There are natural sugars in fruit.
Are they okay?
Well, they're better than the glucose that we just add, the sucrose that is added, which is a synthetic sugar. There's sugar and salt in most natural foods, but that's enough for us. We don't need to be whacking in great amounts at the table or in processing.
OK. Juicing has become really popular and can be beneficial for health and also can help you lose weight as part of a balanced diet plan. It supercharges your nutrient intake by providing your body with pure micronutrients, vitamins and enzymes with none of the bad stuff that constitutes processed food. Is that all true?
That's true. I'm a great fan of juicing, not as an alternative to all food, not as a kind of only drink juice, nothing else.
Some people do, though, don't they? They juice all week.
Yeah, and it's nutritionally incomplete. But for all those people who don't get enough fruit and veg elsewhere, they don't put it on their plates because they don't think they like fruit and veg, it's a really good way of topping up on your 5 portions a day. So if you juice, you're getting plenty of water. You're getting all the vitamins and minerals in the natural product. And, I've seen people juice with a blender, which means they get all the pulp, all the fibre, which is beneficial too. And you can put a lot of cabbage in a blender with some carrots and some kale and bits and bobs, and you sweeten it naturally with an apple or other fruit or berries, and you've got a very healthy drink. You can make it for 24 hours. Put what you don't use in the fridge, take the other to work, have it as a snack. It is very healthy, and it's quite filling and satisfying.
Cabbage, kale, and apple.
I mean,
see, I don't find that attractive. Could you put gravy in with that as well, or not?
It doesn't taste like that.
Any chocolate in there?
I recently went to California, where juicing is bigger than it is here.
Oh, surely not.
And they've got ATMs. They've got holes in the wall machines where you can select your juice, and you pay with your card, and you get fresh juice.
Wow.
Of course.
And then people go off to their
I can see the benefit of fresh fruit and veg, of course, but you're saying it's not nutritionally complete. So how do you combine juice into a normal diet?
Well, you wouldn't have any protein in it, for example. You'd have very little protein, and you wouldn't have any essential fatty acids in there. And people need a balance of everything. So if you had that as a snack, as a drink, 2 or 3 times a day, rather than fizzy pop, as well as a normal diet, that would be very healthy, and I'd be all in favour of it.
I mean, I think some people do like a week's juice fast or a few-day juice fast, and what they do to make it more complete is they'd have something like avocado in with the juices, or they'd have chia seeds added, so that you do get some other nutrients as well. And if it's just like for a week or whatever, then you can have an amazing weight loss and feel absolutely incredible. But I think you're absolutely right. The best thing to do with juicing is to just incorporate it breakfast time or as a snack or whatever. And you're also absolutely right that the more vegetables you have in there, the better, and then just sweeten it with a little bit of fruit. Because if you have just a load of fruit juice, that's going to give you another load of problems.
A load of sugar.
Vitamins, then. Millions of people swear by vitamin supplements. Some medics say they don't do you any good at all, and then other medics might say, well, actually, a little short of vitamin B, why don't you take this supplement? I mean, especially pregnant women, they say, well, why don't you take these iron tablets and like that? So there are varying reports as each month goes by, it seems to me. What's Dr. Hillary's opinion on vitamin supplements?
Oh, we definitely need vitamin supplements. There's very few people who get a 100% nutritionally complete diet. However clever they are, even if they're nutritional experts, to get 100% nutrition these days is very difficult. So vitamin supplementation is very useful.
How do you know they're effective, though? How do you know?
Because we know how many people are deficient in, say, vitamin D or iron, folic acid in pregnancy. Absolutely essential. Well, that's why we call them vitamins. They're vital. That's how the name came about. And if we didn't have supplementation, we couldn't correct many of these conditions, which people can suffer from. Tiredness, altered immune systems. Folic acid, really serious in pregnancy because you get an increased chance of spina bifida if you don't have folic acid supplementation. So it is absolutely vital and important, particularly for certain groups of people who are in training, people who are pregnant, elderly people suffering from chronic illness, the elderly who don't absorb as many vitamins so easily. But I also believe that we need to tailor the supplements that we take according to our individual requirements, not just a blanket multivitamin that'll do for everybody. You need to tailor what you take to your own specific needs.
All right, so imagine I don't eat a lot of fish. Should I get the krill oil tablets or the cod liver oil tablets?
I think cod liver oil and omega-3 important for things like joint health and heart health. I do think they're important. I think things that we can take for arthritis, glucosamine in the right formulation, in good enough dosage, cod liver oil. Many people swear by it, and it can't do any harm. If you compare it to the anti-inflammatory medications which the pharmaceutical companies make, they all have side effects.
And what about these vitamins, kind of composite vitamins, if you like, for women who are over 40, for women who are over 50, for men who are over 40, for men who are over 50, plus 55s. These are 60-plussers, and it's got all the stuff that they think...
And you think, how does it know?
Yeah, how does it know? How do they know what I need?
My wife has just bought a great big pot of multivits for the over 50s.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, what we know is that at certain age groups you're more vulnerable to nutritional deficiencies. For example, at the menopause or when you're pregnant, you do have extra needs. So the companies say, well, we will specifically help certain age groups, certain groups of people by putting certain vitamins in.
And is there enough of those certain vitamins within the tablets, or is it insignificant?
No, they're good amounts. They're probably in excess of your recommended daily allowance.
OK. We were going to get around to doing some alternative therapy and also old-school illnesses we were going to talk about. We are going to have to do that next time because the doctor has to get off to the surgery.
Surgery.
It's a surgery,
Gotta go and operate.
Yeah. Well,
Bloody hell.
Why are you laughing?
You're a surgeon now?
No,
no, he's a sturgeon.
I'm a tree surgeon.
Yeah, he's a tree sturgeon. Dr. Hilary Jones. See you next time. Thank you, Doctor. That's interesting. Very interesting.
Thanks for downloading Steve Wright's Big Guests. Join Steve and the team weekdays from 2 on 88 to 91 FM, BBC Radio 2.